Hey everybody. So I haven't been in the greatest health the past few days. But I was told to not let the momentum die out, that I should still record a video this week, so here I am. I figured this video would just be an easy one, not too much. I just wanted to tell a little bit about myself and, well, a little bit more about myself and my journey to mental health. Well, my journey through mental health. So I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression when I was in college, my sophomore year of college, I believe. I feel like it's something that I've always had, but of course in the Black community, unfortunately, we don't really talk enough about mental health and mental illness. I believe it's because just kind of like the history of Black people and like what we've been through. I think that it's kind of like you have to survive, you know what I mean? Regardless of anything else, you have to survive. So I don't think that Black people talk enough about mental health and mental illness and getting help and therapy and stuff like that. So I was going through a rough patch during this time of year. There was a lot of family stuff going on. There was a lot of school stuff going on. And I kind of reached like a really low point. And it wasn't the first time that I reached such a low point, but growing up, I always thought of it as like, oh, I'm just sad, or oh, I'm just nervous, you know? But a lot of times I didn't realize how like irrational it can get until then. So my roommate at the time, she encouraged me to go get help. So I was trying to find a job at the time, and I couldn't find one, and it was just a lot of stuff. It was kind of discouraging. So I finally went and talked to somebody, and I talked a lot about like family and like things I was going through and like my thoughts and how I process things. And she told me that I had anxiety and depression. So being a psych student, it's kind of frowned upon for you to diagnose yourself. And I feel as though I was, I kind of guessed, like with me learning about the different disorders and stuff like that, I kind of guessed that I was bipolar. And I guess that's why you probably shouldn't diagnose yourself, because you kind of go to an extreme. Because I was going through a lot of like mood swings and stuff like that, and I didn't realize that, you know what I mean, it was depression. Not that depression is any less severe than bipolar, but regardless of any of that. Anyway, so she told me that I had anxiety and depression. She suggested that I get on medication. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, not angry, but I was like completely turned off. I was like very uncomfortable with medication. I'm like, I don't need meds. I'm fine. I can figure it out. You know, I'm like, let's just figure out the options, because I really don't want to get on meds. So I had the mindset that like getting on medication was like frowned upon, even though I was a psychology student and I was learning about these things, and some people need medication, some people's brains are just wired differently, stuff like that. I was educated in it, but I guess it just hit a little too close to home when it was suggested for me and the things that I was going through. So I was like completely against it. I'm like, let's just figure out other things. So we were finding other coping skills and stuff like that. It didn't always work, the coping skills that she was giving me. So fast forward, I mean, I got through college, obviously. I got through college. I graduated and all that, barely, but I graduated. So fast forward to after I graduated. So I had one job, but my first job that had to do with the field that I wanted to work in. So I started working in a group home, which I feel like is where I'm supposed to be. I started working in a group home, and at the time the group home was like co-ed, so there were boys and girls. The kids that I was working with were very behavioral. So these were kids that like suicidal, homicidal, very aggressive, just a lot of different things going on, but it's mostly like psychological. So these kids were dealing with a lot, and we had to deal with a lot of behaviors. We had to break up a lot of fights. We were attacked a lot, stuff like that. So it was just like a very high stress environment. So coming into that and like kind of being new to something like that, I also had the mindset. I remember thinking in like my first week going in and seeing like Black children, and I'm like, Black people don't send their kids away. Like Black people don't give their kids away. Like what is this? Like I really was expecting it, and I don't mean this in any way, but I really was shocked seeing Black kids in group homes. Like, I don't know what I thought a group home was, or what, you know what I mean? Like, now it's kind of ridiculous to think about, but like at the time I was like really taken aback that like there were Black kids like living here and like away from their families, because I just always had the mindset that like Black kids don't get sent away for behaviors. Like, Black people deal with their kids, you know what I mean, at home. They keep their kids at home, whatever the case may be. So I was very taken aback. So regardless of all that, there was a lot of stress. It was like high stress. It was always like on, you know what I mean? Like a lot of hands on, coming into work. Anytime I clocked in, I felt like I was like going into battle, you know what I mean? Like it was a very, like I started at a very high stress time. We had a lot of like, I don't want to say problem children, but children that had a lot of issues that they needed help working through. So being in that environment, it triggered my anxiety, which I didn't realize until I reached a point where I was having panic attacks like twice a week. And I mean like hyperventilating, crying, chest tight, can't breathe, blurred vision, headaches. Like I was having like really bad panic attacks. And thank God for my best friends and my mother. I will call them. I will call one of my best friends, and she would just immediately, if she heard me crying, then she would immediately start praying. So like that got me through the panic attack in the moment, but I didn't realize how much it was affecting me. So I went through another job. I left the group home and kind of was like, I just want to do something else. Like I just feel like I need to do something else. Let's explore a few more options. Plus I was thinking about going back to school at the time. So I'm like, let me explore some other options so I know exactly what I want to go back to school for. So I ended up doing case management, and I hated it. Like, kudos to whoever does case management. I hated case management. Hated it. I ended up going back to the group home. So I went back to the group homes, and like I got promotion after promotion after promotion, and it was like back-to-back promotions. So I ended up being in the position that I'm in now, where I'm a program supervisor. I'm running the house, pretty much managing an entire program. And the anxiety that came with that, I know now as anxiety, so I could address it. I felt like everything that I was doing, I was having very, very unhealthy coping skills, and I'm not going to state what they are, but I was having very unhealthy coping skills. I was doing a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have been doing a lot of things that weren't necessarily helping me. They were kind of just like muting the feelings, or like numbing the feelings just for a little bit, and then I was right back into being anxious. I was calling my mom like scared about a lot, and a lot of the things that were like irrational, like some of my thoughts were just like they just didn't make sense. So I'm like, yeah, technically I'm underqualified for the job. Technically I'm underqualified, but that doesn't mean that I can't get it done. And it's not, I was doubting myself a lot, and I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And I realized that like medication is not that bad, you know? And I'm not saying that just like, I am currently on medication for my anxiety. But I had somebody tell me, that person that I'm not friends with anymore, but I had them tell me like, when you have a cold, don't you take medicine? When you are nauseous, don't you take medicine? You know, like when you're in pain, don't you take medicine? Like, why is medicine for your mental health so frowned upon? Like, if you need the help, get it, you know? And it kind of like, thinking of it that way kind of changed my whole perspective on medicating mental illness. It doesn't have to be this huge thing where you're like trying to kill yourself for you to be medicated. It doesn't have to be this huge thing where you're like trying to kill other people for you to be medicated. And I have, when I was younger, gone through phases where I was like suicidal, had a lot of suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be that extreme for you to use medication to kind of help you through situations. And I've come to terms with that. I've come to terms with the fact that like other people may need medication. I realize that there are a lot more people on medication for anxiety, for depression, for whatever than you may think. And these are like your everyday people. And like sometimes you just need a little assistance. You know what I mean? The medication does help a lot. I will say that it is like I am not pro meds that I want to just be pumping people with medication, but I feel like it helped me so much. But there are other things that help me too, like praying definitely helps me. Just spending time with my family helps me. Reading, writing. I realize that now recording is kind of like a coping skill, kind of just venting and just talking to a camera. My anxiety has caused a lot of like self-doubt. Even starting this YouTube channel was just something new for me. I don't really do public speaking, so this is a little bit easier for me. But I realized that like just putting myself out there, just venting to a camera, just talking is like such a great like outlet. But essentially I just want this video to just be like you guys just like seeing exactly what the inspiration was behind this channel. I really don't want anybody to ever feel like they're alone. If there's anything I can do to help, you know what I mean? Even if just looking at this camera and just talking about the things that I've been through and the experiences that I've had and the people that I interact with and the people that I've come across, even if that is just like what helps someone, then I want it to be that. So besides all the fun videos and stuff like that, I will be talking a lot about mental health, and I just wanted you guys to just know where it was coming from. It's coming from a genuine place. If there's anybody out there that feels like they're alone, you're not. You know what I mean? There are plenty of other people, even besides me, that have gone through the things that you've gone through, or have experienced things that are similar to what you're going through. And my comments are open. You know what I mean? My page is open. All my social media is open, really, because I just want people to be able to just reach out. I'm here to lend a helping hand, and this page is just one way of doing that. So just leave comments, leave questions, give me any kind of feedback. If you guys want to share your experiences in the comments, anything like that, anything that you feel like you can relate to, I'm open to it. I love reading them. I love getting the feedback. And I'm sure there's somebody who's like watching and might want to read through the comments and just see if there's somebody that they can relate to. So just leave your comments. I'm not really sure how to end this video, but I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.